Hello students, a very good morning to all. In the last video, we were discussing about the first unit, your atomic structure unit we are doing. We are done with the 3 lectures so far, and we have discussed the first 5 topics of your syllabus. In this video, we'll be discussing about the quantum numbers and the radial and angular wave functions. So let's get started. So we were discussing the Schrodinger wave equation, which gave us the concept of atomic orbital. So according to him, the atomic orbital is a three-dimensional region around the space, around the nucleus, three-dimensional space around the nucleus where the probability of finding the electron is maximum. So next topic, we are starting with the quantum numbers. Now we have seen that Schrodinger wave equation has 3 variables. So it can be defined on the basis of 3 quantum numbers for the complete address of electron, as psi is the wave function to which we are finding the solution, and psi gives us the probability of this equation is meant for finding the probability of finding the electron. So now we are after the complete, we want to know the complete address of electron, that where probability is maximum. So in order to know the complete address of electron, we need to find out 3 quantum numbers, that is a set of 3 constants must be defined, and these 3 constants were called as quantum numbers. These were designated as small n. Small n is the principal quantum number. Here principal is this, we are spelling the principal as PAL, not PLE. This is the head of the, just like the principal of the head of the principal of the college. Here this quantum number is the head of quantum numbers. So it is called as principal quantum number, which tells us about the size and energy of the electron, size of the shell of the size of the orbit in which the electron is present, and tells us about the energy of the electron. Next quantum number is L, which is called as angular momentum quantum number or azimuthal quantum number. So quantum number L tells us about the shape of the orbital, shape of the three-dimensional region in which the probability of finding the electron is maximum. Next quantum number is represented by letter small m, which is magnetic quantum number. It tells us about the orientation of that three-dimensional region in orientation of that particular shape in three-dimensional space, that how that shape is oriented in space where probability of finding the electron is maximum. So let's start with the first quantum number, that is principal quantum number. It is represented by small letter n. It is the most important quantum number as it determines the principal energy level or shell in which electron is present. It is the same n which was taken by Bohr to define the orbit number, or we can say the shell number. So for the value of n can have values starting from 1 to infinity. For 1, it is represented as K shell. For 2, it is called as L shell. These are the capital letters. And for 3, it is M shell. And 4, it is N shell. And so on. So from the values of n, energy of electron can be determined, as the formula is same as given by Bohr given by Bohr for the energy of electron in particular orbit depending upon the value of n. Here Z defines the atomic number of the atom of which we are talking about. Here we are talking about hydrogen atom, so Z is 1, n is 1 for first orbit. So energy from here will come out to be minus 13.6 electron volt per atom for first orbit of hydrogen atom. Also, if we change the unit, here units are electron volt per atom. If we change the unit, the value will be 1312 Z square n square kilojoule per mole. Again, radius as we have already defined it, it is 0.529 n square by z angstrom, or for the first Bohr orbit, it was 0.529 angstrom, where n and z are both 1. Next, we have azimuthal quantum number, or we can say angular momentum quantum number, which is represented by letter L. It refers to the subshell. The shells of the difference comes where Bohr didn't define further that there are subshells present in a shell. So in case of quantum numbers, there were subshells present within the shell, and those subshells were represented by small letter L. It refers to the subshell present within the shell, which defines shape of the orbital. So based upon this quantum number, or based upon if we know the which subshell is there, we can know the shape of the orbital in which the probability of finding the electron is maximum. L can have multiple values. Its value depends upon the value of n. L can have n number of values. Like if the value of n is 2, say we are talking about the second shell or the second orbit, then L can have, based upon that, L can have 2 values, and values of L will vary from 0 to n minus 1. For the value of n of 2, if n is equal to 2, that means L can have values 0 to n minus 1, that means 1. So L can have 2 values, 0 and 1. But n can never be 0, as the value of n can be varied from 1 to infinity. So based upon this, for each value of n, different L values are there, and number of L values will be equal to the shell number. So for L is equal to 0, the subshell is represented by the small letter s, which means sharp. For value of L as 1, subshell is P. For 2, it is D. For 3, it is F. And for 4, it is G. These are the types of subshells which have these values, and it depends upon the value of L. And these subshells have different shapes, and these are designated as S stands for sharp, P stands for principal, D stands for diffused, and F stands for fundamental. And shape of S orbital, shape of this S subshell is spherical. P subshell has a dumbbell shaped, D subshell has double dumbbell shape, and F subshell has complicated shape. The shapes of these orbitals we'll be discussing later. We'll have detailed discussion on the shapes of the orbitals. Now, the number of subshells in a shell is equal to shell number. This we have already discussed. Now we'll see for different values of n, what are the possible values of L. So for the value of n as 1, number of subshells are going to be 0 to n minus 1. That means just one value will be there, and that is going to be 0. So that subshell will be represented by 1s. 0 stands for 0, we are writing S, and 1 will be followed by S. Here this represents the principal quantum number, and S represents the azimuthal quantum number. Similarly, for value of n as 2, values of an L will be 0 to n minus 1, means 0 to 2 minus 1. That means 0 and 1. And for n 2, for 0, we have written S. So possible subshells are 2s, and here 1 is also there, 2 principal quantum number, and followed by L, which is represented by P. So it is 2p, and 2s and 2p for value of n as 2. Similarly, for 3, there will be 3 values, 0, 1 and 2, represented by 3s, S for 0, 3p, P for 1, and 3d, D for 3. For 4 values are there, that means 4 subshells are there. will be represented by 0, 1, 2 and 3. For 0 we have S, for 1 we have P, for 2 we have D, and for F we have, for 3 we have F, and these letters will be following the principal quantum number. So this is how we write the orbital. So orbital angular momentum can be calculated based upon the value of L. That is why this quantum number is called as angular momentum quantum number, because the electron is revolving around the nucleus in an orbit. So based upon that, as electron is revolving around the nucleus, so based upon that it must possess some angular momentum, which will be defined by this angular momentum quantum number. The value of angular momentum quantum number is given by, the value of angular momentum is given by h upon 2 pi under root L into L plus 1. This is a formula for orbital angular momentum. Next we have magnetic quantum number, which is represented by small m. This quantum number describes the preferred orientation of electron in the presence of magnetic field. Let me explain it further. As electron is charged particle and is moving, so will produce some electric field, which further produces some magnetic field. So when external magnetic field is applied, that external magnetic field will interact with the magnetic field produced by the electron. So based upon that, electrons orient themselves in the three-dimensional space in some preferred regions, and those preferred regions have different values of m, are based upon different values of m, and this value of m further depends upon the value of L. M can have 2L plus 1 values. M can have 2L plus 1 values. M can also have multiple values based upon the value of L. If L is 1, that means we are talking about P subshell. So M can have 3 orientations. So that means there are 3 orientations for P subshell for value of L as 0. That means we are talking about S subshell. So that means 2 into 0 plus 1 means just one orientation. So S subshell has just one orientation. For P, there are 3 orientations. For D, value of L is 2. There are 5 orientations. For F, value of L is 3. That means there are 7 orientations. And M can have values varying from minus L passing through the 0 to plus L. That means for P, value of L is 1. That means values of M would be minus 1, 0 and plus 1. And for D, value of L is 2. That means values of M will be minus 2, minus 1, 0, plus 1 and plus 2. 5 values will be there. Similarly for F, values will start from minus 3 to plus 3 with a difference of 1. So here we have different values of L, and further we have how many number of orientations based upon the value of M. So here for S orbital, value of L is 0. For S subshell, value of L is 0. That means M can have just one value, just one orientation, and value of M is going to be 0 because it is, the value can be minus L to plus L. So here 0 is the only value. So 0, M will have the value as 0. And for P subshell, value of L is 1. So M can have 3 possible values. That means minus 1, 0 and plus 1, which we just discussed. And this means that P orbital or P subshell has 3 orientations in space represented by Px, Py and Pz. Further, D has 5 orientations in space which are represented by these, and F has 7 orientations in space represented by these 7 names. Next we have spin quantum number. This is an important quantum number, but it was not discovered by, it was not included in the quantum numbers defined by Schrodinger. So this was discovered on the basis of beam split experiment carried out by Stern and Gerlach. It was found that electron is having one more type of angular momentum, that is spin angular momentum, which was based upon the spinning motion of electron. So this spinning motion was discovered by these two scientists based upon is due to the electron which is revolving around the nucleus spins around its own axis, and based upon the spinning direction its value is taken as, if it spins clockwise its value is taken as plus half. This is totally a convention. Clockwise and anti-clockwise are doesn't have anything to do with plus half or minus half. It is just that if we are taking plus half for clockwise, then we'll have to take minus half for anti-clockwise. We can take any value for any which of the direction, but we'll have to take the opposite value. If we are taking minus half for clockwise, then we'll have to take plus half for anti-clockwise. Here also one angular momentum is defined, that is spin angular momentum. It is given by h upon 2 pi root of s into s plus 1, where s is spin angular momentum, spin quantum number, whose value can be plus half or minus half based upon the direction of spin, which can be clockwise or anti-clockwise. Now we have these important points which the quantum numbers which we have discussed so far. From the quantum numbers, number of subshells in a shell are given by the shell number. Shell number is principal quantum number and number of subshells are L, and the L can have n number of values. Number of orbitals in a shell, I think we missed this point. So here S is the subshell. These are the number of subshells based upon the values of n, and these are the representation for the subshells. So based upon this, S can have just, and will also include the magnetic quantum number. So here the values of possible values of m based upon L value are these. So based upon this, if L is 1, that means it can have 3 orientations. That means 3 different orbitals are there. These orientations represent 3 different orbitals, and for D subshell there are 5 different orbitals. For F subshell there are 7 different orbitals. That means for the value of n as 1, which means L can have value 0 to n minus 1, which is 0. So value of m is going to be 0. That means it just have one orbital, that is 1s, which is represented by 1s orbital because of single orientation of 1. So number of orbitals in a shell are given by the simple formula, that is based upon the value of n. So for n, value of n as 1, that means it can have just one orbital, that is 1. 1 square means 1. For the value of n as 2, that means n is 2, for which p is going to be 0 to n minus 1 means 0 and 1, and for principal that means it has 4 orbitals. One is 2s orbital and 3 2p orbitals are there. 3 2p orbitals, by 3 2p orbitals we mean that it has 1 2px, 2py and 2pz orbital based upon the 3 orientations of p subshell. Number of electrons in a shell is given by the formula, as one orbital can accommodate 2 electrons. So number of electrons in a shell is given by 2n square, as number of orbitals in a shell is n square. So number of electrons are going to be double of number of orbitals. Next is number of electrons in a subshell. So number of electrons in a subshell is given by 2 into 2l plus 1. If you are asked directly that how many number of electrons are there in this subshell, and you are given the value of L, or you are given the symbol of L, the designation of L, then you can easily calculate the number of electrons present in that subshell based upon this formula. Next is the number of electrons in an orbital. Number of electrons, the maximum number of electrons in an orbital can be always 2. It cannot be greater than 2. So for all atoms, energies of subshells within a given shell varies in the order. S subshell has minimum energy, then P followed by D. This means minimum energy is for S orbital, S subshell, then P, then D, and then F. But in case of hydrogen atom, all the subshells have same energy. Say we are talking about fourth shell. For fourth shell, all these exist based upon, for fourth shell, values of L can be 0 to n minus 1. That means L can have value 3. 3 means F. So it will have 4s, 4p, 4d and 4f. But for hydrogen, for in general for all multi-electron systems, these energy values will vary in the order that s orbital is having minimum energy, then p orbitals will be followed by s orbitals, then energy of 4d orbital is slightly more than p orbital, then energy of 4f orbital is more than 4d orbital. But for hydrogen atom, all these orbitals are at same energy level. That means they have same energy. The reason for this we'll be discussing later. This is based upon the Slater's rule, where we'll be discussing the Slater's rule and we'll be discussing for the single electron species and the multi-electron systems. So based upon based upon that, it can be defined very easily. So this we'll discuss later. Next we have Pauli's exclusion principle. Now after knowing all the 4 quantum numbers, it can be known how many electrons can be accommodated in a given shell. Based upon that formula also, and after knowing all the electrons, all the quantum numbers, we can know that how many electrons can be accommodated in a given shell or subshell. So the guiding principle for this is the Pauli's exclusion principle. This is based upon Pauli's exclusion principle. Pauli's exclusion principle says that an orbital can have at the max 2 electrons and that 2 with opposite spin. That means the spin of any 2 electrons present in a single orbital, as we have already seen that an orbital can accommodate maximum of 2 electrons, but those 2 electrons must have their spin as spin to be opposite. If one is pointing up, then other must point down. This is how we represent electrons in an orbital. This is an orbital. We're representing it as a circle. Here one electron is pointing upward and other electron is pointing downward. This means they are having opposite spin. So this is how electrons are present in an orbital. 2 electrons can accommodate in a single orbital only and only if they have opposite spin. Or we can say no 2 electrons belonging to the same atom can have all the 4 quantum numbers same. 3 quantum numbers can be same but not all 4, because they must have opposite spin. That means for one, value of s should be minus half, for other the value of s should be plus half. Next we have wave function for hydrogen atoms. So for hydrogen atom, Schrodinger wave equation for a single particle with mass m can be written as, if we're talking about, we have come again to the Schrodinger wave equation for single particle. We have derived the Schrodinger wave equation for electron for single particle. Here m is the mass of that. We are considering Schrodinger wave equation for a single particle with mass m. So it can be written as this. Now if we divide both sides with m, we'll get this value. From here m will cancel out and here m will come. Now for hydrogen atom, there are two particles, we can say, present in hydrogen atom. One is electron and other is nucleus. So overall Schrodinger wave equation for both the particles is given by, as both the particles are having different mass, so we'll have to take this section, this part as double, one for electron and other for nucleus. Here energy is also required to be separated, as energy is here we have taken as total energy, but we are interested in just the energy of electron. Here this energy includes the translational motion of atom also, and energy of electron moving under the influence of nucleus also. So, but we are interested in just the energy of electron moving under the influence of nucleus, and that electron is moving in circular motion. So we need to take out the term taken for the energy which defines the translational motion. Translational motion is the motion where all particles, or we can say all if just let's take an example for translational motion, like we are sitting on a slide and our whole body is coming down. That means every part of my body is moving down and is at same distance from each point at all the times. But if I am sitting inside a zobbing ball, that means I am rotating along with the translational motion. Translational motion, that means I am also rotating. That means distance of my one part of the body is changing with respect to the other part based upon the different type of motion. So this motion is known translational motion when I am sitting in the zobbing ball. But in case of translational motion, say if I am sitting on a that means when I am sitting on a slide and the distance of my hand remains same from my foot. But we want the so here we are interested in just the motion of electron, energy associated with the motion of electron under the influence of nucleus. So we'll have to separate that part. So for the separation of that part, we need to convert the Cartesian coordinates that we have taken so far as x, y, z. For the solution of Schrodinger wave equation, we have taken 3 coordinates. So we'll need to convert the Cartesian coordinates into spherical polar coordinates. Spherical polar coordinates means we'll have to convert the 3-dimensional space from the Cartesian coordinates to the spherical polar coordinates. The details of this part you will be doing in your physical chemistry in your third year, BSc third year, and also in your physics when you will be doing in your, I guess you have this in your physics syllabus in first year only. So from there you will get better idea of this. But as of now, you can understand it as like this is the origin represented by O. Here we are taking electron represented by point A. This is the 3-dimensional space and 3 directions x, y, and z. Here theta is the angle which electron is making with z-axis, and phi is the angle which electron is making, which the projection of electron is making with the xy plane. So based upon that, we have calculated the values of x, y, and z, and these comes out to be x is equal to r sine theta cos phi, y comes out to be r sine theta sine phi, and z comes out to be r cos theta. So if we put all these 3 values in the Schrodinger wave equation which we have taken so far, which we have derived earlier in the last video, then we'll get Schrodinger wave equation in this form. So this is a Schrodinger wave equation in the form of spherical polar coordinates. You will have to memorize it as it is, because derivation for this, the detailed derivation for this is not in your syllabus as of now. So here mass has been replaced with the reduced mass, which considers mass of both the electrons and the nucleus. The term reduced mass is used for reducing 2 equations of motion of 2 interacting particles to one equation. Here we have converted 2 equations into one equation. So we have taken the overall, this can be said to be the overall mass of the electron and nucleus which we are feeling, which we are experiencing. So this is called as reduced mass. So the above equation is now free from the translational motion of the atom. Here psi is a function of, psi is a wave function which is now a function of r, theta, and phi, where r defines the radius of the 3-dimensional sphere which we are considering, where we are considering electron to be present. theta is the angle and phi is also the angular part. So here we are dividing this psi into radial part and the angular part. This is the radial part, which is a function of r, and both these represents in a combined form can be represented by a, that is angular part, which is a function of theta and phi. Further, it is found that r depends upon, now these two, radial part and angular part, further depends upon the quantum numbers as they are the constants. So radial part depends upon two quantum numbers, that is n and l. N is principal quantum number and l is azimuthal quantum number, and theta depends upon the value of l and m, that is azimuthal quantum number and magnetic quantum number, and phi just depends upon the value of m. So we can write it as that radial part is a function of L and N. So we can write it as R, L comma N bracket R, where R is the radius of the three-dimensional space, three-dimensional sphere which we have considered. A is the angular part, which further is a function of L and M, which depends upon two variables, that is theta and phi. So the radial wave function provides the distribution of electron as a function of distance r from the nucleus. So from the radial part we'll get the distribution of electron, the probability of finding the electron based upon the value of r. We'll get the probability of finding the electron as a function of distance r. If we want to find out the situation of electron at a distance r from the nucleus, then based upon radial part of the wave function we can find out that. So next thing which we are going to discuss is, based upon these psi and psi is radial part and the angular part, we have solutions for different orbitals based upon the values of different values of n and l. These radial parts have different values. These are the solutions for those where we have put the value of n and l as, for 1s orbital we have n as 1, l as 0, and from there radial part comes out to be this. This is the solution of radial part for 1s orbital. This also you will have to memorize it as it is, because derivation of this radial part or the angular part, which we'll be discussing after this, will is very complicated and tedious, and it is based upon the integration and differentiation, rigorous integration and differentiation. So that will be difficult for you as of now. So you will have to memorize it, and that will be easier for you. So for a 1s orbital, that is the value of n and l are 0. For 2s orbital, so we have 3 radial, you just have to memorize the orbital radial part for these 3 orbitals, that is 1s, 2s and 2p, as far as your syllabus is concerned. Here a0 represents the radius of first Bohr orbit, that is 0.529 angstrom, and value of Z for hydrogen atom is always 1, as this is the atomic number. It can be clearly seen from the above table that radial part is majorly dependent upon this exponential term. This is the exponential term. So based upon this, now we'll try to relate the radial probability, that means the probability of finding the electron from the nucleus at a distance r, based upon the radial part we'll try to find out. So here first, for 1s orbital, radial part is this. We have put the value of that constant, that a0, and Z as 1 we have taken. So it depends upon the value of minus value of r, which is negative exponential term. So here we will get a graph like this when we'll plot radial part as a function of small r, that is radius from the nucleus. So we'll get a graph like this, that is which is decreasing exponentially. Now if there are I need to define this term here, that is node. There are some regions around the in the three-dimensional space around the nucleus where probability of finding the electron, where the electron density is 0. So those regions are called as node. These regions are both the high probability regions are present and the low probability regions are there present, and the zero probability regions are there, and those zero probability regions are called as nodes. And to find out node, what we'll do is, if we are taking it as that it is defining the probability of finding the electron, then if we equate it to 0, that means probability is 0. From there we can calculate the value of R, and at that particular value we'll get a node. So from here the node comes at infinity. If we put this value equal to R, we'll get R is equal to infinity. So for 1s orbital whose wave function radial part is equal to this, we have put the value of a naught, we have put the value of z, and we have plotted R versus capital R versus R, and we have got this exponential curve which decreases, which is at maxima at R is equal to 0 and decreases sequentially, and at infinity it becomes 0. For 2s orbital, I think this part we'll be discussing in the next video. So that is it for this video. We'll start with the graphical representation of radial part in the next lecture. Thank you so much and have a good rest of the day.